positive things in life to counteract it. So I give to all of you, Michalyn, Gret.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. My title of my sermon today is called Coming Home. Today's reading is taken from the Lamsa translation of the Bible from the book of Hosea, chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. Then the Lord said to me, "Love a woman who is fond of doing evil things and adulterous, as the Lord loves the children of Israel, though they have turned and have gone after other gods." So I bought her for myself, and I said to her, "You shall dwell as my wife for many days. You shall not play the harlot, and you shall not be for other men. So I will be for you. For the children of Israel shall dwell many days without the one who wears an ephod and burns incense. Afterward, the children of Israel shall return and seek the Lord their God, and they shall know the Lord and his goodness in the latter days." Have you ever been in a job where the money was great, but you had an empty or miserable feeling? I have experienced this, and my family and friends strongly suggested at the time that I stay because it will bring me security. I could travel internationally and put away money in my 403b. I was being fed physically, but I was missing my spiritual life at work. Sure, outside of work, I participated in spiritual workshops, went to church, meditated, and prayed, and had fellowship with like-minded people. However, I was missing something very essential to my work life, feeling God's presence in my work. All of us are trained from a young age to chase the material. We are told by society, parents, and peers to get a good education that pays very well. Only some of us pursue our true passions. For others, our passions become hobbies that we do in our spare time. So we go off to pursue the American dream, the 3,000 square foot home with the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids, the luxurious vacations, only to discover that things that we were told that would make us happy and fulfilled would eventually lose its glitter. Like in Hosea, God's people turned away from him and pursued the worldly pleasures symbolized by the harlot, and this was to make them feel complete and fulfilled. However, in verse 5, the children of Israel, which represents spiritual consciousness, that's from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, will return and seek God. Only God can fill you up. I found this true in my life. Thinking back when I had my lucrative public school job, initially I was happy. I could live independently, pursue higher education, purchase my condo, take trips in the U.S. and abroad, and save for retirement. For a single woman who came from a traditional Polish Catholic family, this was an opportunity that my grandmother, mother, and older female cousins did not have. However, when I transferred involuntarily from the elementary to the high school, things drastically changed. My high school students had much bigger home and social problems that my training did not equip me with. My students did not want to be in school, let alone learn the content I was trying to teach them. Instead, there were students in every class that would cause disruptions, so I wouldn't be able to teach all of my lessons. It was frustrating and draining. Over time, deep down, I knew I couldn't finish my career teaching where I was, even though the money was great. Eventually, I got the courage to resign, which started me on a 13-year journey to the place where I am now. The journey caused self-doubt, insecurity, and unhealthy comparisons. There were many sleepless nights. I initially went to urban and suburban charter schools, which led me to eventually teaching fully online. Here I met Melanie, my coworker and best friend, at my online teaching position, who I followed to my alma mater, Regina High School. In a million years, I thought I would never set foot in a Catholic school because of my collective negative experiences growing up Catholic. Nevertheless, I took the job anyway. As I walked down the hallways of my old high school, I reminisce what it was like when I was a student. I felt a sense of coming home. There were teachers still on staff that were my teachers as a student. It felt very strange to call them by their first name. Little did I know then what an impact I would make on my students because of a worldwide pandemic that would strike. Because of the stress of teaching students, half in person and half online during the pandemic, we were told by our administration that we could do yoga, breath work, and meditation to lower the stress level of students and ourselves. We could actually do it as a part of our lesson. I seized an opportunity to lead my students in a daily guided meditation where we did mindful breathing and tapping. The girls loved it, and if I skipped it, they asked for it. This experience of bringing the breath, meditation, and tapping pressure points has led me to a joyful experience of meaningful work. I'm not just a Spanish teacher, but a guide to help my students be quiet, mindful, and peaceful where they are in my class. This I considered an essential life skill that I wish I received from my high school teachers back in my day. The spiritual law of balance states, quote, all interactions within the universe are equal exchanges. The law of balance is founded on the fundamental principle of the universe, which is love. It declares that balance will always be maintained in the universe. The planets and heavens are constantly in motion. Therefore, we as humans are moving, growing, and expanding. A situation or event can put us out of balance. This causes unrest or chaos in our lives. However, we can go back to a state of equilibrium. This can take time depending on the gravity of this event. Some things, like a network outage at work, will put us back for a couple of hours or so. Other things, like a transition of a life partner, can put us out of balance for months and even years. We can rest assured that whatever the situation, the universe is propelling us forward to our highest good. We can change from a state of worry and stress to peace and calm, which is optimal for learning and life. We can reach this state of equilibrium according to Bruce MacArthur, author of Your Life, Why It Is the Way It Is, and What You Can Do About It, Understanding the Metaphysical Laws, which is, quote, health on the physical level, fulfillment on the mental level, and joyousness on the spiritual level. The longer that we are plugged into the calm through the conduit of meditation and breathing, the greater the awareness of God in our life and discovering our purpose on planet Earth. We can listen to the still, calm, quiet voice of God. How I personally incorporate this is having 7 to 10 minutes of quiet time at home where I can set my intention of the day and being present and loving. When I get to work, I begin my mindfulness practice with my students by deep breathing and setting an intention for peace for myself, my students, and the world. I've noticed that when I do this practice, not only do my classes run smoother and there is calm in the room, but also my students feel more peaceful and centered. They frequently tell me that they are grateful for this practice. Having an intentional spiritual practice creates presence in myself where I'm aware of not only my feelings and thoughts, but my environment, which includes my coworkers and students. By invoking the I Am presence daily in my classroom, I know that I am calling in my higher self, which feeds my soul and spirit, especially if I experience discord in my life. This process creates balance in my life where I am nourished to continue my work despite the challenges. Is it realistic for us as metaphysicians to be in balance all the time? The answer is no. That is unrealistic because life is constantly in motion. When we are out of balance, we have sleepless nights, anxiety, depression, and even addictive tendencies. I challenge all of us to develop a spiritual practice where you can find balance when your life throws you a curveball. How do you develop balance? It can be through reading spiritual material daily, listening to meditation music, meditating, yoga, or tapping. I promise you that if you are diligent with your spiritual practice, your life will be transformed. When our life is transformed, we are not the same person that we were. It is a shift of consciousness from an older limiting pattern to a higher pattern, according to Bruce MacArthur, author Your Life, Why It Is the Way It Is, and What You Can Do About It, Understanding the Universal Laws. What was a concern or priority in the past is not meaningful in the present. In the book of Hosea, Hosea's wife, who represents the ways of the world, an adulteress, becomes a new creation. We will be tempted to chase worldly things, but we cannot go backwards. We can only move forward with a new vision of life. The material world does not satisfy us in the long term. Only the spiritual or God will be able to nourish our souls. As children of God, we become new creations when we embrace God's unconditional love and peace and follow spiritual law throughout our lives. Thank you.